Alright, so now let's go ahead and add some interactivity to our buttons here. We're going to have a hover button, so whenever we hover over this button, it'll start glowing. And when we left click on it, it'll take us to another scene. So let's go ahead and create a script. Right click, create JavaScript. And I'm just going to name this play button. Double click to open it up. Alright, so let's go ahead and add a couple of variables for our buttons. So variable play normal type texture and variable play hover of type texture. And we don't need any of these functions in here. We just need a couple of functions for our mouse. So let's type in function on MouseEnter. This is for our hover function, parentheses, and 2 brackets. So we're going to say GUI texture dot texture equals play hover. So whenever we hover over the button, we want this texture to be shown. We're going to go down to function on mouse exit, and this is the complete opposite. So once we stop hovering over a button, we can go ahead and show the play normal texture. So GUI texture dot texture equals play normal. And then finally, once we click on the button, go ahead and transport us to another scene. So we're going to say on mouse down, and we're going to say application dot load level, and you want to type in the name of your scene. So I'm going to type in interactivity, which is the name of one of my scenes, and finish it off. And just to make sure, I'm going to take a look at my scenes here, and I have one called interactivity. Alright, so that's all we need in here. Let's go ahead and click save. Right, now let's go ahead and click on our play texture, and just drag and drop your script into the inspector panel. Alright, so we need to fill these variables up. Go ahead and click your first play button. Now for my play hover, I just added a texture with a glow-like effect to the play text. So I'm going to go ahead and import both those hover textures. So I have 2 hover textures right here. I'm just going to drag and drop my play hover in here. Alright, so go ahead and test it out. Press play. Now if I hover over the button, you can see it starts glowing. If I move off, it returns to the normal texture. Now if I left click, you can see I go to my interactivity scene. Now if you're left clicking on your play button and it's not taking you anywhere, it's probably because you don't have the scene set up in your build settings. So go to edit, file, build settings, and you should have your scene in here. If you don't have your scene, whenever you left click on here, it'll tell you down here or in the console that you don't have the scene in your build settings. So go ahead and set that up and then try it out. So once again, I can hover and it turns into the play hover button. If I get off, it turns into the normal button. Left click and it takes me to the interactivity scene. Alright, so that is the basics of using the on mouse enter, on mouse exit, and on mouse down functions.